autopilot's off.
The captain prepares to fly the plane manually to touchdown. As they get closer to the airport,
Did I hit something?
Oh no!
Rain. Too low. Rain.
Oh, God.
the pilots can't control the plane as it cuts through a small grove.
No!
Oh my God!
It's 6:45 p.m. Loganair Flight 6780 cruises over the North Sea near Scotland.
Take a look at that.
I don't like it.
There's some bad weather developing off the end of the runway.
Approach Logan 6780. There's a big storm cell on radar just off the runway. We might need to discontinue.
6780, roger.
The pilots consider their options.
How much fuel do we have left?
2,500 kilos. You want to head back to Aberdeen?
Well, let's circle. Make another attempt.
As the pilots circle for another landing attempt,
Oh, crap!
Circuit breakers look fine.
I have control.
but something's wrong.
The controls feel really heavy.
Mayday, Mayday, this is loganair 6780. Please clear the airspace.
Something's wrong.
The controls feel really heavy.
Mayday, Mayday, this is loganair 6780. Please clear the airspace.
6780, copy.
Without knowing what's wrong with the plane,
It's really fighting me.
it's too risky to attempt landing in a storm at Sunborough Airport.
We should divert back to Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Better conditions.
Agreed.
Aberdeen Airport is 190 miles away.
Let's try climbing to 4,000.
6780, we're going to divert back to Aberdeen.
Something's wrong. I can't get the plane to climb. How's your side?
It's really heavy.
And then the unthinkable happens.
Oh, no! Come on!
We're dropping!
Flight 6780 plunges uncontrollably towards the North Sea. The pilots wrestle with their controls as the plane speeds toward the water at 350 miles an hour.
Speed! Speed!
In a last-ditch effort to save the plane, the captain increases engine power.
We're climbing.
Requesting flight level 240.
6780,
Roger. Climb and maintain 240.
The controls are working better now.
The pilots of Loganair Flight 6780 are on final approach to Aberdeen Airport.
Aberdeen 6780, established on the localizer, runway 16.
Not knowing which instruments they can trust, the pilots carefully configure the plane for landing.
Flaps 35.
Flaps 35.
Control feels normal.
Having avoided disaster twice already, their sole focus is to get the plane safely on the ground.
130. Speed looks good. Decision height.
Runway in sight. Continue. All right. 50 knots, coming out of reverse.
Check.
Happy to be on solid ground.
Puzzled by the crew's account of the incident on board Flight 6780, investigators turn to the cockpit voice recorder for answers.
It will answer many questions as to why things were happening the way they were and how the crew were working together and interacting together.
Aberdeen ground 6780, taxiing on Whiskey for parking stand 7.
But something's not right.
Aberdeen? Now, this is from when they landed back at Aberdeen.
Right, can you stop it and go back to the top and play the game, please?
Aberdeen ground 6780, taxiing on Whiskey for parking stand 7.
That's all there is. Well, that's not going to help us very much now, is it?
The CDR has recorded over the critical moments of the flight. It's a major setback for the investigation.
Right, this is what we know so far. The lightning struck, the autopilot disconnected, they had control problems. Then, the plane did a nosedive.
Well, let's review the data.
Will the data recorder provide the answers they need to solve this case?
Flight data recorders often add a level of detail that simply can't be gained from the witnesses themselves. And crucially, quite often the information that's gathered from a recording device offers a slightly different perspective to what we might get from personal recollections.
Stop. This is where the lightning struck at 2,000 feet.
Right, and then for the next 2.5 minutes. Next 2.5 minutes, there's a slow, uneven climb to 4,000 feet. And then they are in a very steep nosedive, 20 seconds towards the North Sea.
What were the pilots doing to recover from the dive?
Look at the control column data.
Right after the lightning struck, the crew pulled back on the control column to pitch the nose up.
The FDR data confirms the pilots were tackling a control problem. But why?
The captain said they were also applying pitch trim.
Pitch trim moves the tail elevators up and down to maintain the pitch of the aircraft.
Could we take a look at the pitch trim data, please?
Right.
Investigators make a puzzling discovery.
Look at that. And the elevators are trying to get the nose to pitch down instead of up.
After the lightning strike, some unknown force was fighting the pilot's inputs to both the control column and the pitch trim.
The crew said the lightning struck, the autopilot disconnected, and then they had control problems.
Right.
Could we take a look at the autopilot data, please?
Finally, the team zeroes in on the answer.
The autopilot was on almost the entire time.
Investigators discover that after the lightning strike, the pilots were in a tug-of-war with the plane.
So we then had to look at why did the crew misunderstand the status of the aircraft.
Executive Flight 1526 is flying a short 35-minute flight northeast from Dayton to Akron, Ohio.
Zipline 1526, descend to 13,000.
Zipline is Executive Flight's call sign.
Descending to 13,000 feet.
Thank you. Zipline 1526.
I'm going to check the weather.
Automated weather observation. Wind 2